Something significant is happening in the skies over the Caribbean. The United States has deployed its F-22 Raptors, stealth fighters rarely seen outside the world's most volatile hotspots. Supported by massive C-5 Galaxy transport planes, these jets are now stationed within striking distance of Venezuela. This is no routine exercise. It's a calculated show of force. The US and Venezuela have been at odds for years, but this move escalates tensions to a new level. The F-22, nearly invisible to radar, signals that the US can operate undetected and unchallenged. For Venezuela, this is a message that can't be ignored. The world is watching. What will this mean for regional stability, and how will Venezuela respond? Allies like Colombia feel reassured, while adversaries such as Cuba and global powers like Russia and China are on alert. The Caribbean, once a tourist paradise, is now a potential geopolitical flashpoint. The arrival of the Raptors is more than muscle flexing. It's a strategic statement. As of September 17, 2025, the implications are just beginning to unfold. This story affects not just the US and Venezuela, but the entire Western Hemisphere. The next steps could have consequences for the whole world. The F-22 Raptor is the centerpiece of this deployment. It's a fifth-generation fighter, combining stealth, speed, and advanced sensors to dominate the skies. Capable of supercruise, it can cover vast distances quickly and strike before enemies even know it's there. The Raptor's presence alone can shift the balance of power in any conflict. But these jets don't travel alone. They rely on the C-5 Galaxy, one of the world's largest military transport planes. The C-5 delivers everything needed to keep the F-22s operational: equipment, munitions, and personnel. Its massive cargo hold can carry tanks, helicopters, and specialized tools. The partnership between the F-22 and C-5 means this is no short-term visit. The US is setting up a sustainable, fully equipped operation. The Raptors are here to stay, ready for any contingency. The arrival of the C-5s signals a serious, long-term commitment. This isn't just a show of force, it's a strategic foothold. The US is making it clear. It can project power anywhere, anytime. The region's military balance has shifted overnight. The US and Venezuela have a long, troubled history marked by political and ideological divides. Washington accuses Caracas of undermining democracy and human rights, imposing heavy sanctions that have deepened Venezuela's economic crisis. Venezuela, in turn, sees the US as an imperialist power bent on regime change and control of its vast oil reserves. This narrative has driven Venezuela closer to Russia and China, who provide economic and military support. Recent months have seen increased cooperation between Venezuela and its international partners, including joint military drills. The US views these moves as a direct challenge to its influence in the hemisphere. The Monroe Doctrine still looms large in Washington's thinking. The growing presence of Russia and China in Venezuela is seen as a violation of that principle. The F-22 deployment marks a shift from economic pressure to overt military posturing. The stakes are now higher than ever. What was once a simmering dispute is now a potential military standoff. The region is on edge. The timing of this deployment is deliberate. By sending F-22s, the US is signaling its ability to control the skies over Venezuela at a moment's notice. It's a warning to Caracas. Any aggressive move against neighbors or international shipping will be met with overwhelming force. The presence of these jets limits Venezuela's military options and forces its leaders to reconsider their next steps. This is psychological warfare, meant to deter conflict before it starts. The move may also sow doubt within the Venezuelan military about their leadership's confrontational stance. The US hopes this show of power encourages internal dissent or a reassessment of risks. For allies like Colombia, the F-22s are a reassurance of American commitment. The US is reinforcing its security guarantees in Latin America. The Raptors serve as both a threat to adversaries and a shield for friends. This deployment is about deterrence, not just dominance. The message: the US remains the hemisphere's security guarantor. The stakes have never been clearer. In Caracas, the F-22 deployment is seen as a direct threat. The Venezuelan government will condemn it as American aggression, using it to rally domestic support and distract from internal crises. Militarily, Venezuela's options are limited. Its Russian-made Su-30 fighters are no match for the F-22's stealth and advanced sensors. In any confrontation, the F-22s would dominate the skies. Venezuela's ground-based air defenses, like the S-300, pose a threat to conventional aircraft but are unlikely to stop stealth fighters. The F-22 was built to defeat exactly these systems. Venezuela's most likely response will be political and asymmetric. Expect increased air patrols, appeals to Russia and China, and loud condemnation at the UN. Direct confrontation is unlikely. They know they're outmatched. Instead, Venezuela may turn to cyber operations or diplomatic maneuvering. The government will try to show defiance, but the military reality is clear. The technological gap is simply too wide. The airspace over the Caribbean has a new master. The F-22 deployment sends shockwaves across the region. For Colombia, it's a welcome security guarantee against a volatile neighbor. The U.S. presence reassures Bogotá that aggression won't be tolerated. Cuba and Nicaragua, aligned with Venezuela, see the move as a direct threat and will join in condemnation. For Cuba, it's a chilling reminder of past confrontations with the U.S. Smaller Caribbean nations are caught in the middle, concerned about instability, but quietly relieved at a check on Venezuela's influence. Regional stability is crucial for their economies. Brazil, South America's giant, prefers diplomacy and will urge restraint from both sides. A strong U.S. military move could undermine regional efforts at dialogue. The region is now polarized, with countries forced to take sides. The deployment has upended the status quo. Everyone is watching, hoping for de-escalation. The F-22s in the Caribbean are a message to Russia and China as much as to Venezuela. Both have invested heavily in Caracas, seeking a foothold in America's backyard. The U.S. move challenges their influence and signals that Washington won't tolerate rivals operating freely in the region. For Russia, it's a reminder of its limits far from home. Moscow may respond with rhetoric or increased support for Venezuela, but direct confrontation is unlikely. China's interests are mainly economic. Its loans are repaid in oil, and instability threatens those investments. Beijing will call for peace, urging both sides to avoid conflict. The U.S. is also sending a global message. It can project power anywhere, anytime. Even as it faces challenges in Asia and Europe, America remains the world's only true global military power. The deployment is a demonstration of resolve and technological superiority. Russia and China must now reconsider their strategies in the region. The balance of power has shifted. The world is watching closely. The F-22s mark a turning point for Caribbean security. The region, once free of great power competition, is now a stage for geopolitical rivalry. Smaller nations must reassess their alliances and may feel pressured to choose sides. The deployment could polarize the region, undermining diplomatic efforts and regional organizations. Venezuela will likely seek more advanced weapons from Russia and China, triggering a new arms race. U.S. allies like Colombia may also pursue military upgrades. The stakes are higher, and the risks of miscalculation are greater. A border skirmish or political dispute could now escalate rapidly. The calm Caribbean waters now hide dangerous currents. The era of the region as a strategic backwater is over. Every nation must adapt to this new reality. The U.S. has redrawn the security map overnight. The Caribbean is now on the front line of global power politics. With F-22s in the Caribbean, the world enters a period of heightened tension. Venezuela must decide how to respond, likely with condemnation and cautious military posturing. The U.S. will maintain its presence, using the deployment as leverage. Training exercises with allies will reinforce the message of unity and deterrence. Washington's goal is to change behavior in Caracas, not start a war. The international community will push for dialogue and de-escalation. Russia and China's next moves will be critical. Will they escalate support or urge restraint? The strategic environment has fundamentally changed. Best case, this show of force opens the door to new diplomacy. Worst case, a miscalculation leads to conflict with devastating consequences. The world watches, hoping deterrence prevails over confrontation. The next few weeks will be crucial. The Caribbean's future hangs in the balance.